is After Hours with Amy Lawrence.
From Sports Radio 610 in Houston, our final show of Super Bowl week. We'll have the post-game show following Super Bowl 51 on Sunday night, but it's been really fascinating to spend time on Radio Row. I'd known for a couple of weeks that I was going to be able to talk to Sarah Thomas, the NFL's first and still only female official, and I could not have been more impressed. Thanks so much for joining us After Hours with Amy Lawrence on CBS Sports Radio. I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation. I asked her everything from her interaction with fans to what a typical week is like to her partnership with Activia, which is highlighting her as a pioneer, as it should. And so Sarah Thomas from Radio Row, and I started out by asking her what the first couple of years have been like since she finally got to that point at which she was the first and still the only female official in the NFL.
It's been amazing. I mean, it really has. I mean, being that I've been an official in some capacity for 18 years prior to them hiring me, this just goes to the next level. The National Football League is the top.
It is.
You know, it just really is. And the way that they handle themselves, and even the officials at this level, the players and the coaches, it has been very congratulatory. There has been really no negative that I know of. So as far as my gender, it's been very welcomed.
It's interesting because when I talk to a lot of football guys, it's all sometime, I don't think it's on purpose. There might be a surprise like, wow, you did really well. Almost like they weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
Did you get some of that when you were adopted into the fraternity?
I had that one time in a game, like an all-star game a few years ago. And after the game, one of the guys said, "You really can work." And I just wanted to go, "So can you?" You know, but I just was like, wow, you know, I really didn't even know how to respond to it. But, you know, take it as a compliment, I guess. But, yeah, that's happened the one time. Yeah.
Why the NFL?
Why not? I mean, it's the officiating world, and it was what I used to consider a hobby. And then it became more of a passion and an avocation with the collegiate level. And then, of course, at the top of any job that you have, you want to reach that, hopefully, that somebody sees, hey, she's good, what she's doing, let's give her a shot at this. And so the National Football League was that next step, and they called, and I didn't turn them down.
What was that phone call like for you, considering you mentioned 18 years? We're talking 2 decades of your life and almost a culmination to get to the point where you receive a phone call like that.
Right. It was April the 8th, and it was 10:47, 49 a.m. Central Time. And you just see 212 area code pop up on your phone. And you know in the officiating world that that's about that time of year that those calls go out. And sure enough, when I answered, it was Dean Blandino on the other line, and he just said it was just an honor to make the phone call and said he wanted to welcome me into the National Football League as an official. And I was a little speechless. Like, everybody that knows me goes, there's no way you were speechless. But I was. Just because, okay, all right, I've been hired. Now there's work to be done, and lots of it. So
just to make sure, and I want to be sure in case I haven't missed something, you are still the only female who's working as an official in the NFL, correct?
I am. But there are 3 other women that are currently in the developmental program, which is fantastic. And I don't know how many women are at the collegiate level and the high school level now. And then I just had a picture sent to me that there was a women's forum that the National Football League puts on. It was at the Pro Bowl last weekend, and they had an all-women's officiating crew on the field. So those are things that you didn't see whenever I first came in, and you really didn't see them 10 years ago. So it's fantastic for women. And I've teamed up with Activia. They're an NFL sponsor, and they have this fantastic campaign, It Starts Inside, and it is speaking to just that, about women not listening to that inner critic. You don't have to have mom guilt all the time or feel that you can't be successful in a job or corporate America because you're a mom or because you're a woman and everybody else is a man. So their campaign is just literally to believe in yourself, release that inner critic, and be the best woman that you can be.
Sarah Thomas is the NFL's only current female official, but soon we will have up some more. It's After Hours with Amy Lawrence, CBS Sports Radio. You're in the commercial that you film for Activia. You have is it your daughter with you?
Yes.
What does this mean to you as a mom? You mentioned being a mom, that this is something that you can share with your daughter when she's old enough to understand it.
Absolutely. I can share with her. She was a part of the commercial, which is just heartwarming for me. But I have 2 boys too. They're 15 and they're 13.
Wow,
And
what does this mean to them?
Well, and I want them to always know, no matter when you find your spouse or your significant other or whatever it is, that you respect her. You know, she's working, you respect her, you're behind her. Don't always call her up and say, what are you cooking tonight? Because she's out working just like you are, right? So I want to instill in them that whoever you're with, if she is a very confident and strong-minded person, to respect her and be behind her, not just by words, but by your actions. And then for my little girl, look, just because you're a girl, you'll never hear, you can't, from me, that you can't do that because you're a girl. It'll be, all right, well, let's see what the best avenue it is to take for you. I want her to always put forth her best foot and not think because she's a girl she can't.
All right, so let's talk about the actual process of officiating, regardless of gender, because now you're there, you're
Right.
at that level. There's a lot of criticism. Social media tends to pile on. I don't know how much you hear it. So how insulated are you guys from it?
Well, I am pretty much insulated because I'm not on any social media. It's an
That's
avenue.
smart.
It just, well, you know, there are some great things about social media. It really is. My mom and a lot of family members are on social media, so I can view certain things. But as far as me having an account and whatever it is, I don't. I just, because the negative, if you truly want to read about something negative, you can go to any of the social media outlets. And I just have a tendency to not want to do that. I want to surround myself with enough positive. So people say things, I hear them not even on the social media world. So you just have to have,
Do you hear fans?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've heard get your panties off your head, you throw your flag like a girl, or you're terrible, whatever, you know, your typical stuff. But you just have to have thick skin and just keep moving on. Don't take it personal.
The game's fast.
Yeah, it
how
is.
hard is it to get it right?
Well, that's the amazing thing with the officiating department in the NFL, and even at the collegiate level now. I mean, they have a lot of clinics and camps that we are trained to try to slow the game down. Even though they're phenomenal athletes, positioning, know what we're watching, know our responsibilities, the game really has a tendency to slow down.
When you're in that moment, are you able to do nothing but focus on the football
That's
as
all.
much as happening around you?
Yeah, well, the one thing we don't do is we don't football watch. We don't, as officials. As fans, you do. I have other responsibilities as opposed to
So you're
being
honed in on one particular thing,
There's
one
several
particular
things.
area.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's several things, and it's just the progression of the play that transitions my sight and my focus point on different things. So I know it's a split second, the play is, but there's a lot of things going on within an official's mind and eyesight during that time.
People don't realize how technical it is,
Right.
or realize that at that level, you guys are the best in the world. I mean, I hear it just as a radio host, the criticism all the time. It's always the ref's fault, this,
Yeah.
that. It really is a thankless job because no one says anything when you get it right. It's only when they feel like you've screwed up. And most of the time, they're wrong anyway.
Well, the funny thing is being an athlete, our coaches always told us never put yourself in a position to have an official change the course of the game or call the game or have the game done. So, and we don't. We truly don't. And when I was an athlete, I didn't like the officials. I was just like, oh, I see that you're out here. You don't have to blow the whistle every time. Are you trying to foul me out? I was the one doing it. But no, as an official, we do hear a lot. We know that the fans are there and there's a lot of criticism, but don't shoot the messenger. We're just trying to implement the rules and do our job. It's everybody else that makes up the rules. We're just there to enforce them.
Sarah Thomas is here for a couple more minutes. I know you have a lot to do, but I wanted to ask you, it's interesting when the NFL has talked about potentially making some of its employees, its officials, full-time,
Right.
their only job. A lot of you have other jobs. What else do you do?
I am a pharmaceutical sales rep for Novo Nordisk, and
Love that.
we have a phenomenal background with diabetes, and so I love working for Novo Nordisk.
What's a typical week like for
Yeah.
you then during the season?
Is there enough hours in the day? And so let's just start. Saturday morning, get up. I catch the 7:20 flight out of Jackson on Delta and get to the city. We do our pregame. We do our dinner. I iron my uniform. I'm the only one who does. They all
Yes!
pick at me. Yep.
Fantastic.
And then the next morning up with the devotion. If the game's kicked off at noon or 1 Eastern, we leave 3 hours prior to kick. We have responsibilities at the field, and then we do our game. 3 hours, hopefully. get on the bus, go back to the airport, wake up Monday morning, do your duties with your children and your job, think about the game that happened, and then we have a conference call for about an hour and a half on Tuesday night. And Wednesday, get our grades. Thursday, kind of, in the meantime, doing all the mom and real job stuff. And then Friday, get geared up to leave again.
You get your grades, huh?
We do.
Wow. So it's like a report card every week?
It is. And we're more critical of ourselves
sure.
than the supervisors are. But it is a learning process. It really is.
How much do you enjoy it?
I love it. I mean, it's a passion. I mean, who wants to go and just be a football official? I mean, you could get yelled at home for crying out loud, not by thousands of people at one time.
Do your sons ever say anything?
Yeah,
If they're
like,
watching
Mom,
you
how
feel
did you do that? How did you blow that one? I'm like, come on, give me some love here. There's 185 more plays. Did you not see all those? But no, they're typical. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so you're not on social media, but what about Activia? Where can people watch your commercial,
yes.
find out more?
Yeah, you can see the commercial. I think it airs on a lot of the major networks and even a lot of other networks. But you can go to Activia.com. And if you want to follow them, they're on Instagram, Activia US. And so you can learn about other amazing women that are just real women trying to survive. I say it's like the duck. You paddle like I'll get out underneath to try to look smooth on the surface.
I love it.
So, yeah, but Activia.com, it starts inside campaign.
Sarah, it is a great honor to talk to
Mine
you. This is
too.
probably one of my favorite things of the entire week. I feel like we're sisters, so thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.